So, Greg Dick, Head of Football Operations of CFL. First of all, welcome to Finland.
Thank you very much.
Let's talk about the CFL's international strategy first. What's the goals in the thought process of that?
Yeah, thank you very much. It's my boss Randy Ambrosi calls CFL 2.0. So this is a new way for us to think internationally. Is we want to create a player pathway for global players to play in our league. We have created partnerships with football federations around the world to have a collaborative partnership so that we have a player pathway for their players to come and play in Canada and possibly Canadian players to come play in the leagues across the world. For our Canadian Football League, we want global players to come play in our league and help us grow our game. And then that collaborative partnership is we want to grow the game of football in all the countries across the world.
And you're going to have a pretty busy schedule. This is the first of the combines.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about where you're going next and
Sure.
what's going on.
Sure. Thank you. There's 11 combines that we're doing across the world. So tomorrow, actually, we're going to Stockholm, Narköping. There's going to be a combine in Sweden. Next Friday, we're in Paris. The following weekend, we're in Bristol, UK, as well as Florence, Italy, and then Frankfurt, Germany on January 26th. Then we go to Japan, Tokyo, and Osaka on February 1st and 2nd, followed by Copenhagen on February 29th, and then we're in Mexico on March the 15th.
So, what are the things you're looking at here at the global players in the combines?
Sure. So we are looking for guys, the most talented guys that can play, that can contribute and play in the Canadian Football League. So what we'll do is we'll pick the best players from each of these combines across the world to come to our CFL Combine at the end of March. When we bring these players to Toronto for the CFL Combine, all the CFL teams will be then there to evaluate, test, interview the players, and then we have a global draft on April the 16th where the CFL teams will then pick the best global players to have an opportunity to come to training camp, make the team, and then play professional football in Canada.
So, looking at these guys here, what are the key things they have to do to make it to Toronto and maybe to the CFL?
Yeah, it's a great question. We aren't going to look by position. We're going to look at all the players and see what kind of abilities they have. And like any football coach, we're looking for strength, speed, agility. Greg Quick, who's our director of global scouting, works on my team, will be the one that's the main talent evaluator for all of these players. He's looking for guys that can play on special teams, because as a rookie in professional football, it doesn't matter if you're American, Canadian, or a global player, you have to sometimes play on special teams first to get some opportunity to play on the field. So we're going to look for guys that can do that. We're going to look for certain skill sets that work for the Canadian football game. Canadian football is a little bit more wide open than U.S. rules, American rules. We have a bigger field, an extra player, so a little bit of speed, a little bit of agility, more agile players, and toughness is important when you play in our game.
Like you said, the rules are a bit different. So, what are the major adjustments American or say Finnish players have to make coming into the Canadian football?
I think the biggest, it's a wider field and it's a longer field, and there's an extra player on the field. So the play clock is short between plays, so the game is fast. You only have 3 downs to get a first down, so sometimes what happens is you might have 2 plays and then you're out on offense, and so then you're right into special teams again. Special teams take up about a third of the plays, so special team players are very important in our game. The other thing when you're on defense is there's unlimited motion towards the line of scrimmage, so that makes a difference when you're a defensive back and you have a receiver running directly at you full speed. That cushion needs to be changed a little bit. The other thing on defense is you line up 1 yard away from them on the line of scrimmage, so defensive linemen are a yard away from the offensive lineman instead of nose to nose in U.S. football. So those are some of the major differences. But the bottom line is it's football. And so a football player in the United States or a football player globally who plays American rules, they adapt. It's football.
All right, that's great. Thank you.